Hey Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. You guys have been asking us to check out more IPS panels, so today we're checking out a pretty interesting gaming panel from BenQ as part of their new Mobiuz series of monitors. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the Mobiuz EX2710, which features a 27-inch IPS panel with a 144Hz refresh rate that includes AMD's FreeSync Premium and also works with G-Sync 2. Now this is a whole new series of monitor and it's looking very interesting. Is it worth the price? Let's find out. We've had this monitor sitting here for a little while, probably a couple weeks, and I've been meaning to get to it, but our monitor pile just keeps on growing and this monitor from BenQ keeps getting pushed to the side, but not today. It's time for us to finally show you this panel. The BenQ Mobiuz EX2710 features a 10-bit 144Hz 27-inch IPS panel with the resolution of 1920 by 1080. Yes, this is a 1080p panel. It sports a peak brightness of 400 nits, it features AMD's FreeSync Premium adaptive sync technology and works flawlessly with NVIDIA G-Sync as well. It won't surprise me if this panel ends up getting G-Sync certified in the future. In terms of color gamut, it covers 99% of the sRGB color space as well. The Mobiuz EX2710 also has standard 100mm VESA mounting, so you shouldn't have any issues if you want to mount this to an existing monitor solution, if you've already got one, or if you're trying to VESA mount it just in general. It features some standard BenQ stuff like the light sensor on the bottom chin of the panel that can detect light in the room and adjust the brightness and color temperature accordingly. This is a nice addition, but it's personally something that I never use at all since I game mainly on a BenQ panel anyway. The Mobiuz EX2710 has a 178-degree wide viewing angle with a 1000:1 native contrast ratio and a response time of 1 millisecond. It's got two HDMI 2.0 ports as well as one DisplayPort 1.2 port with no USB ports. There's a headphone output as well and two 2.5 watt speakers. The out-of-the-box calibration is excellent, and this panel was pretty bright and vibrant, and as usual for extended periods of time I reduced this monitor's brightness to around 20% and I felt like that was more than adequate. And as well, like as I mentioned, this is a pretty bright panel, and in this room, much like the Gigabyte panel, I have to reduce that brightness because it's quite dark in here, otherwise you will strain your eyes and it kind of makes you feel a little bit sick too. The build quality is good and you shouldn't have any issues with it at all. It's a gaming focused display and it's got this little orange accent on the monitor stand down here, and it's not metal, although this panel doesn't feel cheap and the build quality is quite nice and it does feel like a premium panel. And I think other than the orange accent down here on the stand, yeah, the panel is good. The panel is also very stable as well if you're being a bit rough on your desk too. It's got a zero bezel design with the matte screen surface. The stand is fully height, tilt and swivel adjustable. It would have been nice to have some rotation adjustment just in case you wanted to use this as a portrait screen, but ultimately not really a deal breaker. The Mobiuz EX2710 has a little nub style joystick built onto the back of the screen for the menu system. It's really easy to use and everything's pretty easy to understand. It's laid out quite nicely. The initial press gives you most of what you need and you can dig a little bit deeper into the menu by scrolling to the bottom menu option. There's also an additional HDRi button on the front of the display that allows you to apply some filters if you have HDR enabled. Maybe the I stands for Instagram? I don't know. I found this pretty useful even though the HDR support on this monitor doesn't support local dimming. That aside, I think this is actually one of the better HDR implementations that doesn't feature local dimming. The only reason why I'm talking about this is because I actually had a pretty good experience with it and it was a lot better than I expected. And that's the thing with this panel though, it was unexpectedly good. In regards to adaptive sync, it features AMD's FreeSync Premium technology and will also work flawlessly with G-Sync, which is the way that I used it the whole time. I had no issues with this implementation. It worked so well. And I mentioned this before, but yeah, I think this panel will eventually get G-Sync compatible certified as well. This is easily one of the best non-certified panels that I've ever used. For gaming, this panel is awesome, and it was actually a pretty big surprise to me. It feels snappy and responsive, and it made me feel like I was a better player than I actually am. And I thought that the fact that this was a 1080p panel would make it feel average compared to what I'm used to gaming on, but I didn't notice that I was playing at a lower resolution at all. And overall, I think this is actually pretty well executed. It does the thing that it was designed to do really, really well. Be a gaming monitor, and that's exactly what the EX2710 is. It's a really well executed gaming monitor. It's a monitor that I would absolutely recommend for someone who wants a panel with excellent viewing angles, with great color reproduction, and something that works flawlessly with G-Sync. This was a really surprising monitor for me personally, and I didn't think it was going to be like that, but yeah, the longer I have this set up, the more I want to use it. And BenQ is kind of one of those companies that's been consistently creating good monitors for such a long time that the EX2710, the fact that it's good rather, shouldn't really surprise you at all. It's kind of their thing. They've been doing this for ages. That said though, there are a few things that make this less of a permanent fixture for me though. The first thing being the HDR implementation. It's nice, it works surprisingly well, but it does lack local dimming, which is not true HDR. I guess for the price, you really can't be surprised. And that's kind of why I really didn't want to dive into it, because if you're buying this monitor, you're most likely not going to be using it this way anyway. Another thing is the lack of the USB hub, and this makes it a little bit harder to swallow for me. BenQ actually implements this in some of their panels, but I suspect this is more to do with bringing the price down, which is better for the consumer at the end of the day. And a lot of you have actually been telling us that you don't use USB on your monitors anyways, which is kind of understandable. Maybe you're all onto something and maybe I don't actually need it. I don't know. Maybe. Anyways, I would actually love to have seen this as a 27-inch curved panel, which is, I mean, just something that I like, and maybe even a 1440p version would have been right up my alley, but again, that's not really a deal breaker. There's just something about 27-inch curved monitors that adds a little bit of immersion. Maybe they'll add something like this in their future lineups, but who knows? I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't really tell you anything at all. Anyway, the last thing that I just, it's the base of the monitor, and I'm being completely nitpicky here because I know it's something you guys are going to comment about, and it's something that I would personally comment about if I was to see a video like this. The orange accent on the bottom of the monitor stand. It's not a big deal, but it would have been nice if it was removable, since it's got this kind of rubbery composition, but again, not really a big deal, especially if you like orange. If you're interested in grabbing the BenQ Mobiuz EX2710, they're going for around $299 US, around 429 Australian dollars at the time of filming this video. Do I think it's worth that price tag? I think if you're in the market for a well-balanced monitor with excellent viewing angles, good color reproduction, and a 144Hz refresh rate, the EX2710 is one you should definitely keep your eye on. Now, if you've got any questions about anything that I mentioned in this video, feel free to drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think of this panel. I was pleasantly surprised at this panel, and I can't believe how well it's executed. Although I know people are going to say, oh, this video is sponsored, blah, blah, blah. It's definitely not. It's a properly good monitor. And yeah, also, I just wanted to add this as well. I've been pinning the wallpapers that we use in all these videos in the video comments and in the description. So if you guys want to know what they are, they're usually there. I've been doing it for like the last 4 or 5 monitor videos because you guys have been asking us. Also, if you want to see some more info about this series, Tim from Hardware Unboxed actually recently covered the 24.5-inch version of this panel, so you can check that out in the little eye in the top right-hand corner right now, or I'll put a link in the video description as well if you want to check that out later. He did a really great analysis of the 24.5-inch version, and you might find some handy info in his video if you're interested in this series of panels. And also, regarding that, I also wanted to add that we keep these monitor videos, once again, nice and easy to digest for people who might not understand everything about monitors. I know there's people that don't like the way that we do it, but we like to make it easy for everyone to understand, so it's easy for you to absorb the information. Not everyone's an expert with this stuff, but that's what we're here for. Luckily we are, and we know how to make it easy for you guys to understand. If you guys like this video, you know what to do. Tell us what you liked about it. Hit the like button, smash it as many times as you can. Actually, don't do it more than twice, but you can hit that dislike button twice. That'll work quite well. Anyways, guys, you know what to do. I'm your boy, Nick with Gear Seekers. Thanks for watching. You peek, we seek. And yeah, this monitor is actually properly good. I was a bit skeptical. I usually am when they bring out new series of monitors, but again, this one was pretty surprising to me. And I think the price is pretty acceptable. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I actually really liked it. And again, and I have to add this, and I said this already in the video, this is not sponsored by BenQ. They literally send us a monitor to review. That's as simple as that. Thanks for watching.